Something I notice a lot of people tend to do is get offended. That's right, they get offended whenever I talk about prison nicknames. They don't like what they're saying. They get offended and they put their little comment and say, oh, this ain't supposed to be like that. Why they called him that? Man, look, I didn't give the dude the nickname. Somewhere along the line in prison, somebody else gave him the nickname. In prison, things are a lot raw than what you like to think, but you like to sit out here in society and act like you know what's going on and cast stones, you know what I mean? And say the way it should be. You ain't gonna change nothing. Just like I ain't going to go into a California prison system and change the structure there. You ain't going to change nothing that they got going on inside these prisons. But you want to be offended by everything instead of trying to feel out what's going on. You see, the difference between y'all chumps who act like you offended by everything and the people who ain't offended by everything is the dudes who were in prison. They realize one thing. It's just the way it is. But when they get out, they can still be cool with each other. But y'all mad because y'all think things, oh, it's racist like this, it's racist like that. It's just the way it is. Go in prison and be white and don't be about your business and you be young. Them dudes, them black dudes, and see, ask any black dude, they going to tell you the truth too. They ain't going to lie to you. They coming after you. They're going to try to make a victim out of you. They don't care about what you think you stand for and what you down for. You better be about your business or you're going to get got. I made a little video about some of the white dudes' nicknames in prison, right? And so you get all these little thumbs downs on it because they don't like what you're saying. They're offended by it. In Louisiana prisons, they call white dudes who act black G-white. G-white. G/white. Gangster white. That's what that means. A gangster white dude. They call him G-white. They had another dude they call do-rag white. White dude, straight up white dude, do-rag white. He wore a do-rag. Wasn't nobody gonna tell him nothing. Didn't nobody tell him nothing. He was down with all the black dudes and they were cool with him. That's just the way it is. They had a Vietnamese dude in there. They call it Jap, J-A-P. Now I'm Japanese. So before you start getting offended, I'm literally Japanese. My mom's Japanese. So before you start crying and complaining, they call a Vietnamese dude Jap. That's right, J-A-P. That's a slur. The reason they call him Jap, he was gangster Jap. Because he had gold teeth. Vietnamese dude with gold teeth. So they call him Jap. So some of these nicknames, they get offended to people. But people don't know how to respond to it because they don't know nothing about prison life. Prison life is on its own set of rules. It don't follow society's rules. It don't follow no woke culture. It don't follow no political structure. It got its own structure. When I mean by political structure that's in the free world. Of course, prisons have political structure that are set up by the convicts and also set up by the guards. That's right. The guards set up political structure too. So before you cry and complain about what's going on in prisons, why don't you take time to try to understand from a convict's perspective on what's going on inside these prisons? And listen, every prison ain't going to be the same. The southern prisons are way different than the East and West Coast prison. It's just a different ball game. Listen, Florida prisons are different than Virginia prisons. Virginia prisons and New York prisons are way different than California prisons. I'm in Louisiana. The structure is way different. Way different. It's a brutal state to do time in, because it's definitely a lone wolf state and you got to be about it because there's savages in Louisiana prisons. But if you stand up for yourself and handle your business, you can get by. You might have to do something dirty. You might have to put in that work. And in Louisiana, if you know anything, Louisiana has one of the highest percentages of African-American population in the entire world. So there's going to be more blacks in Louisiana prisons per capita than anywhere else. Maybe Mississippi got us beat. I don't know. But Louisiana's right there. You hear me out? So you go, if you're a white person, you go to prison. Now, the only thing is Louisiana's a small state. So you probably grew up with some of the black dudes you in. If you're white, you probably grew up with some of the black dudes because the neighborhoods are right next to each other. It ain't a big stretch like California, big state like that, or Texas. You know, if you're from New Orleans, you're from New Orleans, a small city. You might have lived in the well-to-do section, but one street over was the straight-up ghetto, the hood. So if you was getting dope, you was getting dope one street over, one block over. So you came up with the same dudes. You knew them. They know you. So when you got up the road in prison, that's who you hung with. You know what I mean? In Louisiana prisons, you can have a cellie who's the opposite race. That ain't going to fly in California. So before you get offended, why don't you try to figure out what's going on instead of casting stones like you know what's up and you don't know what's up. Because the prison systems are interesting. I think they're worth studying. I think they're worth knowing about. You should know what's going on, right? Because reality is most of the people inside the prison systems getting out, whether you like it or not, they're getting out of jail. And a lot of them dudes are good dudes. They're going to be productive members of society. Some of them won't. Some of them they should never let out. And they're going to let out. And there's some that they won't let out that they're going to die in there that they probably should let out. So our justice system don't get right all the time. We don't get it right all the time as a society. But when it comes to how things work in prison, before you act like you know what's up, why don't you try to figure out what's up and listen to all the people who are talking about prison and prison-related content so you can see, right? I can't help it if I'm telling a story about a dude named Do-Rag White and some people offended because they think that's like some kind of racist thing. I didn't get a dude his name. I just did time with him. Wasn't nobody offended by him in jail, and that's where the real gangsters are. But they got people in society. Oh, it's so racist. I don't understand why they call a white boy Do-Rag White with a do-rag on his head. Oh, you punk. If you don't like it, then give me a thumbs down, man. That don't make or break me. I'm going to stand strong no matter what. Man, welcome to the Pen and the Shank. Give me a like and subscribe.